Hi guys, I'm delighted to be here today with Claire Ciesla. She's a lady from France that I've come across recently through YouTube. We've met for a mutual friend, and we've been able to develop some really good, interesting stories together in terms of informative information. Anyway, I've actually learned quite a bit because she comes from the other side of things to me. She's very thin. She comes from a background of disordered eating. I come from a background of binge eating, and I'm quite large. So we always have this sort of weird exchange of ideas because we come from different backgrounds, but ultimately we can still put our viewpoints together between us. Hopefully, we can help some different people out. So the reason why I wanted to bring her on today is to talk about her diet that she's been following maybe quite a few months now, maybe a year ago from now, in the past. And at one point, she was doing several sticks of butter a day. Now, there's a popular trend at the moment where people are doing one stick of butter a day, and that's popularized by Dr. Elizabeth Bright and those from the Steak and Butter Gang. So, what I'm saying here is Claire is on, or has had a lot more than that, and for quite a long period of time as well. So, Claire, perhaps you'd like to give us a bit of a background on that. So, how much were you eating in a day? So, that would include the meat, any fat sources as well. And how did you get to that point? What made you decide to do that in your diet?
So thanks, Jonathan, for having me today on. And so I came from a background of eating disorder, restrictive eating disorder, and I didn't eat any source of fat for 3 decades. When I decided to give a try to carnivore, to be able to heal from anorexia nervosa, I just wanted to go all in, and I just jumped to a very restrictive behavior to all-in behavior. And so I was listening totally to my hunger cues. And when I started eating carnivore, high-fat carnivore, my body was screaming for the fat and asking for more and more and more. And I have not been eating a lot for years. And when I started eating the fat, I couldn't stop. And I was eating fat and sticks of butter during the entire day. Each time I was eating, I was going to my fridge and taking a stick of butter. I couldn't stop up to the end. And when I was walking around the kitchen, I was still going into the fridge to pick up more butter. I was even waking up in the middle of the night craving the butter. So I was just eating and eating and eating the butter. And after a couple of weeks after starting, I was eating 6 sticks of butter a day, every single day for 3 months. It was really 6-7 sticks of butter a day. And after 3 months, 4 months, I started reducing it without wanting it. It's just that my body didn't want that much. And what I was doing at this point is I was keeping the package of the sticks of butter to see how much I was eating, because I didn't want to calculate anything. I just wanted to go with my hunger cues and with my craving. And so because I didn't want to measure, I was just keeping every single day for a week or 10 days the package of the butter. And then after the 10 days, I was looking how much I was eating, and I was eating in average after four months around 4 sticks of butter a day. And I kept eating this much butter for a year, full year. And then slowly, my body didn't need that much fat, so I reduced it. And in last October, so after 1 year and 3 months eating on average 4 sticks of butter a day, I just switched from butter to other source of animal fat. And now I'm not craving the butter anymore. I'm more craving the tallow and the lard.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I think the interesting thing about butter is it's got a lot of short chain fatty acids. So that's particularly useful when people are trying to transition from a standard diet, whatever that might be, to a carnivore or high fat diet. For anyone who doesn't know, they feed
First
the
of all,
colonocytes in your gut.
I think as well the amount of butyrate inside the butter, that you
Mm.
cannot find the butyrate anywhere else in the diet. I think it's really important, and that's why the body maybe is craving for it.
I completely agree. We've discussed things like that about butter before, and I mean, it is an age-old thing. We've had butter in our diets probably for thousands of years. Ultimately, they needed a way to be able to store milk fat, cream,
Yeah.
and they needed it to be temperature stable. So the way they did that was effectively getting the fat out of the butter. Then they could store it for a lot longer. So they had this abundance of milk, I imagine, from cows back in the day, and they thought, we got all this milk, but we don't really want to drink all this milk. We need to extract some nutrients from it, so the fat, so it gives us energy. So they worked that out thousands of years ago. Somehow along the way, we've been misled to believe that butter, saturated fat, effectively is bad. We know different now. The science doesn't support that. And what I'm seeing before me is someone like Claire who is having more saturated fat, and she's getting much healthier as time goes on. So if you look at any of her past pictures, she posted a video recently from her like vegan transformation kind of thing. And I'm looking at Claire now and thinking, wow, she looks much more vibrant, much healthier than she did back then. Perhaps could you talk about that? So could you say how the fat intake has sort of improved maybe your well-being, your sense of self, your health in general?
Being from a background of restriction, eating that many calories at the beginning were really scaring. I had a lot of anxiety, but eating all this fat, it helped me so much to deal with this anxiety. Each time I was thinking about restricting again, I was like, okay, you want to restrict, but yeah, you feel so calm eating all this fat. So just go, and because you feel anxious about all this amount of calories, just eat some fat and see how you feel. And it was like the more I was eating the fat, the less anxious I was, and the less anxious I was, the more I could eat fat. And so it was like eating fat bring to eat more fat and more fat and more fat, and to calm down about the restrictive eating disorder. And so it was a big point as well. I saw my body composition changing. My mental health was improving. I was able to think by myself, to have more mental clarity and everything, because the brain is a minimum of 60% fat. So if you don't have fat, it's really difficult for your brain to work properly. So having this amount of fat, my brain was really nourished, and I was able to think, I was able to go back to work, I was able to do a lot of stuff. And as well, I can say that having this amount of fat back to my body, I was able to regulate my hormones and to have my cycle back. And this was a big, big victory for me.
Yeah, I find that amazing. I mean, obviously being a male, I can't really relate to you, but I can speak on the mental health side of it. Um, Myself, I've suffered with depression and anxiety, and I can say near enough it is into remission now, and I partly put that down to the blame of the extra fat. So it definitely has some sort of calming, cortisol suppressing sort of benefit. Not many people talk about that. So I've got one more question before I wrap this up. This is just a short video today, and that's how it has changed your body composition. So you've been doing several sticks of butter a day. I know you've changed that recently to the lion diet, but effectively, how has that changed your body composition? Did you notice that when you went from maybe 6, 7 sticks a day to maybe 4? Did you get leaner? Did you get fatter? What happened?
Um, so at the beginning of my journey, eating 6 to 7 sticks of butter, I gained a lot of weight because I needed it. And then I went down to 4 sticks of butter because, yeah, I was not craving more than 4 sticks of butter, and I got stuck in the gain weight. It was really difficult for me to gain more weight, even if I wanted to gain more weight. So when I started my high fat carnivore journey, I had around 4% of body fat. For a woman, it's really, really, really low. And even eating for more than a year, 4 sticks of butter a day, I didn't succeed to go higher than 15% body fat. Currently, I'm around 15% body fat, and it's really difficult for me to gain more fat. I'm still gaining weight, but it's mostly muscles and bone density, I suppose, because I still have the same yeah, 15% body fat. But I have to say that I'm doing resistance training as well. So I'm not sitting on my couch every day or in front of my computer. I have very sedentary work at the office, but then every single day, okay, 5 to 6 times a week, I'm going to the gym and I lift heavy weight. And I'm doing always some heavy lifting exercises. And yeah, I'm increasing my muscle mass.
I find that incredible because a lot of people would think they'd look at you and Claire and think, well, maybe she shouldn't do weights because it's bad for her. But effectively, if it's making her stronger and it's making you, Claire, feel better, by all means, carry on doing it, you know?
I really feel better moving a little bit. And when I was really skinny, I had a lot of joint pain. And now that I'm doing some resistance training, I decrease the pain. And because due to the restricting behavior, I was having osteopenia, it's really important for me to do some resistance training to have stronger muscles, to be able as well to have stronger bones. So it's a full package. And yeah, it's really important to do this.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time today, Claire. I've really appreciated this time to speak to you and talk to you about something that can be quite a sensitive matter. So I appreciate that a lot. So how can people find you online if you want to be found? I understand you have a YouTube channel, Instagram, things like that.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel which is called Beyond the Scale Through Healing. So you can just reach out to me through the channel. You can find me at Loli Carney on Instagram, or you can look at my name on Facebook.
Perfect. What I'll do is I'll link them below in the show notes and it'll be easy to access them. Cheers, Claire. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.